Tonight for dinner, I am making crunchy rolled chicken tacos. I'm going to start by preparing the filling for the tacos. Right now, I'm chopping up half an onion. I'm also gonna mince some garlic. Eyes are watering from that onion. I'm gonna roughly chop some parsley now. We're gonna use this in our guacamole later. I also have 2 beautifully ripe avocados here that I'm gonna prep. I think I jinxed myself when I said beautifully ripe. This one's much better, and it also has a really good fruit to pit ratio, which I appreciate. Now that our veggies are prepped, let's head over to the stove. I've brought all of my ingredients over to the stove. I have this bright burner preheating, and then I also turned on the oven. I'm preheating it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I've drizzled some olive oil in this pan, and now I'm gonna add my onions so that they can start to caramelize. While we're waiting for those onions to cook, we can start prepping our guacamole. Our guacamole is done now. I'm gonna set it aside. I don't like to smush up my avocado chunks too much in my guacamole because the acidity of all that lemon juice that I added in will break them down anyway. So I give them a good stir, but I don't tend to mash them quite as much. Now that our onions are turning a beautiful golden color, I'm gonna add in our garlic. Probably should have added that actually, now that I think about it. Got my recipe. No one will ever know. Now that our onions are turning a beautiful golden color, what I'm going to do is push them to the edges of the pan so they don't continue to cook quite as quickly, and I'm gonna add in my ground chicken right in the center, in the hottest part of the pan. Now that our chicken is mostly cooked, I'm going to reincorporate those onions that I had pushed to the side. I'm also gonna add in our minced garlic and all of our spices. One thing that I do to prep for this recipe that makes it a lot easier is I actually pre-measure out all my spices and I put them all in a little bowl. It just makes it easier. You don't have to do that though. Sometimes I just throw them all in one by one, but this just makes it a little bit easier when I'm trying to multitask with multiple things on the stove. Now that I've let those spices and the garlic cook for about 30 seconds, I'm gonna add in 1 cup of chicken stock. I'm actually super excited to be using this chicken stock because I homemade it this morning. Now that I've added the chicken broth to the chicken, I'm gonna let it cook on a medium heat until that liquid is mostly reduced. While I'm waiting for this, I'm actually warming up my tortillas. I have 8 corn tortillas that actually came frozen, so I'm just in a separate pan warming them up so that they'll be more pliable when it's time to assemble our dish. Do recommend stirring the chicken every couple of minutes just to make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of the pan. I've just removed the chicken from the heat and you can see how much that liquid has reduced. There's still a little bit of sauciness to it, but it's mostly sticking to the meat. This step is very important. We don't want to leave too much liquid in there because when we fill our tacos, we want to put them in the oven and have them get crunchy. We don't want that liquid to seep into the corn tortilla shells and make them soggy. Now I'm going to give this a quick taste test for salt and then we'll be ready to assemble our tacos. Let me show you the little assembly station that I've created. We have our warmed up tortillas here, our meat, and then I have an oven-safe baking dish that I'm going to assemble this in. I almost forgot one very essential step, which is that we are going to take olive oil and brush both sides of these warmed corn tortillas. When we put them in the oven, this is what's going to give them that beautiful golden crispy texture. I learned this technique for baking crunchy tacos from a food creator called Half Bake Harvest. Now that our taco shells are nicely coated in the oil, now we can start assembling these tacos. And this process is so fun and simple. Take one of our taco shells that's been brushed with olive oil, and I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of meat into the center, just about that much. And then what I'm gonna do is just carefully roll it into a cylinder, just like that. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then I'm gonna place it seam side down into my baking dish. No worries if a couple pieces of chicken fall out, that's totally fine. This does not need to be perfect. And I'm just gonna roll this up. You can see that these are pretty tightly packed into the pan now. And what I'm gonna do before I stick them in the oven is I'm going to just really make sure that they're fully brushed in olive oil. So if those ends are looking a little dry, I'll just add a little bit more. This is so important because it's what's gonna make them very crispy and delicious. So now our rolled tacos are prepped and ready to go into the oven. I've preheated it to 400 degrees and these are gonna bake for about 35 minutes. I've let these cool a little bit, and now they are so perfect and ready to eat. The exterior shell becomes so golden and crunchy and delicious. I cannot wait to taste these. I'm gonna go eat lunch now. Thanks for cooking with me. That is so good.